and they can win. Northeast Ohioans aren't afraid to work. The work ethic is strong. There's still a lot of innovation. There's still a lot of interest in risk-taking. I certainly saw that at a couple of factory tours even this week, one at Alloy Bellows, which is a company that's doing a terrific business with some new patents and new technology. I think Northeast Ohio has some great natural advantages, and I look forward to the opportunity to be able to work more closely with people in this room and others to take advantage of those. I'm going to list 4 of them. First is healthcare. The Cleveland area has an amazing cluster of healthcare resources. It's medical devices, it's pharmaceuticals, it's biotech, it's University Hospital, it's Metro Health, it's of course the clinic, it's Case Western, and I think these entities will continue to be responsible for some great medical breakthroughs and life-saving technologies in years ahead. There's a reason that Rainbow Babies is home to pediatric drug trials and funding from around the country, and why the clinic has some of the best specialists in the country and attracts significant federal funding. The Health Mart would have a natural home here. If given the opportunity, and if Washington doesn't insist on stifling medical innovation, Cleveland and Northeast Ohio could be the Silicon Valley of healthcare technology. Our leaders in Washington should actually come and visit Cleveland and check out some of the world-class medical facilities and learn and listen. Nothing needs an innovative cure more than our ailing healthcare system, and a lot could be learned here in Cleveland. Second, manufacturing. Again, Northeast Ohio has a strong history of excellence in manufacturing. We need to build on it, not abandon it, and we can. And by increasing production, you can increase employment. Yes, companies are doing more with less. Yes, companies are more productive. They have to be competitive, but we can also produce more. And again, I've seen it. Innovation isn't stifled. If innovation is not being stifled, training and investment in technology keeps up. Entrepreneurs who work with folks like Team Neo right here in Cleveland, who I visited, can succeed again and can be competitive and can grow. Third, energy. Northeast Ohio in particular, and Ohio in general, has some real advantages here. We have some great natural resources we're blessed with. We have the manufacturing expertise to be able to employ in advanced energy, in green technology, and in more traditional energy production. Natural gas is a great advantage for us. Northeast Ohio is literally sitting on top of billions of cubic feet of natural gas that is trapped below us in what's called the Marcellus Shale, which wasn't accessible until recently. Now with new technology, it is accessible. And Ohio is also home to one of the largest natural gas pipelines, which interconnects through Ohio, moving natural gas from the Rockies toward the east. Coal. Obviously, Ohio has a lot of coal in the ground. Some say hundreds of years. And we have the ability, because of our coal resources, to have relatively inexpensive energy. It's one of our advantages. As I said earlier, about 87% of Ohioans get their electricity from coal, and it's relatively efficient and therefore relatively low cost. There are also environmental issues that have to be addressed. But this also creates an opportunity, because clean coal technology, gasification of coal, coal to liquids, can create thousands of jobs here in Ohio. And there are a number of proposals currently being looked at that would help not just Northeast Ohio, but our entire state. Nuclear power, of course, is a great opportunity for Ohio. I believe there ought to be a nuclear renaissance, and I think Ohio can play a critical role in it, both in terms of siting more plants, but also the production capacities. I visited 3 firms in Cleveland recently, all of whom stand to benefit greatly if there is this nuclear renaissance. And of course, solar wind power is something that here in the Cleveland area, folks are focused on. Wind on the lake, the biggest solar production plant in the country is in Toledo for solar. There are great opportunities there and great research going on. And we can take our history of manufacturing success and apply it to the demands of the 21st century energy economy. Finally, water. Now, we don't think of it much, but water is a huge resource for Northeast Ohio and a great advantage. With Lake Erie to the north, this area has a lot of possibilities. I've met with the Cleveland Port Authority and others involved in lakefront development. I'm convinced it can play a significant role, not just in recreation, where it already does and can do more, but also in transportation and commercial development. These are 4 areas of natural strength. And I didn't even mention LeBron James. I mean, I believe we can restore Northeast Ohio and restore our state to greatness. It won't happen overnight, and it won't be easy. But we need to start today and focus on it like a laser. Working together, we have the opportunity to harness resources and bring prosperity and growth back to this region. But key to this region and key to Ohio's greatness will be the small business and entrepreneurs that create the jobs on the foundation of our workers and our families. It won't be built by government, whether that government's in Washington or Columbus. As I've outlined today, I believe Ohio's next senator must be focused on jobs. That means being effective at standing up to the policies and policymakers who want to enact job-killing policies, and proposing and enacting pro-job and pro-growth policies that work for this region and for our state. Thank you again for allowing me to be with you today, and I look forward to your questions. Thank you, Richard.
Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we are listening to a Friday forum featuring candidate for the U.S. Senate, Rob Portman. We'll come back to him very quickly for a couple of questions. We do have, as you all know, a regular program of inviting students here. Today we are making this possible by a generous grant from the Fred E. Scholl Charitable Foundation. We have some students from Max Hay High School. Would they stand, please, and be recognized? Thank you for being with us. Now we'd like to return to Rob Portman for our traditional City Club question and answer period. Anyone in the room is free to ask a question. Holding the microphones today are Director of Development Jessica, where's Jessica? Over here, and PR and Programs Manager Carrie Miller. First question, please.
Hello. Your concept for a payroll tax holiday is intriguing, and I think most of us would like that. Can you delineate your strategies for defeating opposition, potential opposition to the idea?
Well, the first opposition is going to be probably from some who are concerned about the deficit impact, and I am too. And that's why I would suggest that to provide that kind of jumpstart to the economy, we should prioritize it over some of the existing spending in the stimulus package, which has not been actually appropriated yet. It's been authorized, in other words, it's been approved, but it hasn't gone out the door. And also the TARP funding. There's about $260 billion left in the TARP fund that has not yet been spent or that has been returned to the Treasury. So I think that, it's a legitimate concern, but it can be covered. The TARP funding alone could cover the payroll tax proposal that I've made. I think it's critical, though, for us to look beyond just increasing the size and scope of government to be able to get the private sector more engaged. And ultimately, it's going to result, I believe, not just in companies that are able then to have some funds to be able to reinvest in technology and workers and equipment, but also put some more money in people's pockets. Because as economists will tell you, one of our problems in our economy right now is getting demand going again, is to have the consumer out there that then produces demand business to business. So I think it's the right approach for this time in our economy, and I think it would give our economy here in Northeast Ohio a shot in the arm.
As a mayor in a very heavily Democratic county, I have learned the importance, in fact, the necessity of bipartisanship. Yes. And Mr. Pogue, in his introduction remarked on how you are known for your bipartisanship and how you have reached across the aisle in your work in the House of Representatives. It would be very instructive and very helpful if we could learn some specific examples and specific bills that you are behind as far as to improve or as examples of that bipartisanship.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mentioned the Second Chance Act with Stephanie Tubbs Jones, but actually 12 of my bills were signed into law by Bill Clinton, which makes Republicans nervous sometimes. But they were all good bills, and they were all, in my view, fiscally conservative bills, principled conservative bills in the sense that they help move the country forward. One was the Unfunded Mandates Relief Act we talked about with George Voinovich. Another is when you sell your home and you have a capital gain, which none of us do anymore. But when that was true, you remember having to keep all those records in the shoebox? You don't have to do that anymore. And that was my bill that says that for a couple selling a home, you get a $500,000 exclusion from capital gains, which means you don't have to worry about it, which I thought was good tax relief. A home is not an investment, it's a home, but also good tax simplification, which is something we need to do, is not just make the tax code work better by having a payroll tax holiday right now, but also simplify our tax code. So that's an example. I had 3 bills passed into law, 2 of which signed by Bill Clinton, 1 signed by George Bush, to help expand retirement savings, to let people put more against their 401ks and IRAs, simplify those rules, catch-up contributions. Some of you over 50, I don't see any in the room in that category, but may have taken advantage of those catch-up contributions. Those are examples. 52 new taxpayer rights in the IRS reforms. It was totally bipartisan. President Clinton had threatened to veto it. We got a veto-proof majority in the House and Senate, and he signed it into law.